Hey everybody, today I'm going to be taking a review of this 1/18th scale Autoart Diablo 6.0. We're going to be going over some of the details, the features, and some of my overall opinions on this particular car. So this car is painted in this really stunning yellow on silver wheels and black interior. And I'll start one off with the front of the car. So as you know, they use these headlights from, I think it's a Nissan, I can't remember the exact name of it, but everyone knows that one fact about this car, but I think it makes it look pretty unique and pretty cool. Down here we also have some extra turning signals down here, fog lights below there, and some, pretty basic details, I must say. There's nothing really too extravagant on this front of the car, but it does look fairly good. And this is a fully opening model, of course, because it's an Autoart. So let's check out what's under here. And it's set on these really nice gas struts, but it doesn't really hold too well. As you can see, it doesn't just stand up. You kind of have to prop something up against it. And there also is no carpet in there, which is kind of a disappointment because I think Autoart has really set themselves apart by adding that detail with a lot of their other models. But this model is pretty early and pretty old, so it doesn't have that feature, which is, it's not a big deal, but you'd like to see those features on these kind of cars. But moving down the side, we have some really nice wheels. I absolutely love these wheels on the Diablo. Behind there we have some drilled brake rotors and some black brake calipers. But it does look fairly good and no complaints there. I forgot to mention the windshield wiper. It has this one big blade and, nothing really too crazy, but it does look pretty good. Moving on. The side of the car has these really nice mirrors, but these are standard for all the Diablos, so nothing really too crazy going on there. The doors themselves I will get to, and I'll open those towards the end of the view because they are an absolute nightmare to open, and I'll kind of show you guys how to open them towards the end of the video. So moving on, we have a gas cap back there, which I'm not too sure if it opens, but I highly doubt it does. And it goes on to this nice little vent back here, which you can see through sometimes. As you can see, there's a bit of light shining through there, so I really like that feature on this particular model. So moving on, the rear of the car looks pretty good. It's kind of reminiscent of some of the other Diablos that they made. And one thing to note is that this is actually standard for all the Autoart models. It looks like it's missing a taillight, but it is actually not. That is what Autoart did, and I'm not sure if that's representative of the real car, but it is what comes on this particular model. So it is kind of weird and a quirky feature, and it's something to note. Back here we also see some of the rear vents back there, along here, and then below there, which you can see through this one, like I said earlier, through this vent, but looking back this way, you can't really see much. So, nothing really too crazy going on. This exhaust tailpipe, though, looks absolutely incredible. And I really like that feature on this model. So I will open up the rear hood so we can see some of the engine detail. All right. And so this one also has the really nice gas struts, and I like that feature. But I will say there's not really too much going on back here. I mean, this honestly could pass off as like a Maisto engine bay, because as you can see, not too much going on back there. You can see some of the exhaust features back here, but really besides that, pretty standard engine bay. The only thing I think sets it apart from some of the Maistos is these gas struts. So, nothing too crazy, and it's a pretty basic engine bay. Back there you have a rear glass window, and there's a brake light on top of there. Like I said, nothing too crazy. And so, I think this model has one pretty big flaw, and I think all of the other Autoart Diablos have this issue too, is the doors are relatively impossible to open. You're supposed to hit this button right here, and in theory you'd think they would just pop up, but you actually have to kind of pull it up, and I might have to do this off camera because it's really hard to do with one hand, and I feel like I'm gonna break it doing it like that, but I just did it. So basically just push down that button right there. It's really small, and then just, I guess, get your hand on top of the car and just push the door open. This car doesn't have any gas struts on the door, which I think is a real letdown. And they don't really stand up properly, as you can see. they kind of just fall back down. So it's really hard to display this car with the doors up unless you get something maybe in here to hold it up. But you know, that is kind of sad, and I think for an Autoart model, you know, they should have this stuff figured out, and they might on the newer Diablos, but this one is you know, not great, as you can see. So yeah, no struts or anything, nothing to hold that door up. It kind of just flops around. But I will say the glass on this particular model does look pretty good. Nothing to complain about there. The interior of this car I actually like quite a bit. As you can see, there's a bit of carbon fiber running on the door sill and on the side splitter right here. So that does look pretty good. As you can see, the seat belt details. The seat belts on this car come the other way around, unlike on most cars. But there is a nice manual shifter right there, and there's a bit of carbon fiber on the center console and also on the dashboard, if you can see that. But you know, like I said, a pretty basic interior. Not much really going on in there, but you know, if you really take some time and look at the details, I think it's actually really nice. But the doors are a letdown, I must say. So, and they're pretty hard to close at. You know, I don't want to break it, so I might just leave that open for the rest of the review and close it later. So, my opinions on this particular model. I've purchased this fairly recently, maybe like a month ago, for $170. And $170 is a lot to pay for this model, I think, just because, as you saw, the features aren't really too crazy, and you know, kind of a letdown for an Autoart model, I must say. You know, and the problems with the doors, that, you know, there's quite a bit on this model that doesn't really make me very happy. But this is the only Diablo 6.0 that you can buy in 1/18 scale. There are several different colors in this. I think there's an orange and a black and the yellow. So not really several, there's 3 that I'm aware of currently. And these are getting pretty expensive as well. I think I've seen quite a few of these sell for potentially $200+. But if you can grab one in that $180 range, I think, you know, just to have this model in your collection, it is worth it. Because I'm sure it'll hold their value unless they do a reproduction. So I'm going to give this model out of a rating of 10. I think I'm going to have to give it a 7, just because, you know, there's the... Like I just listed the issues previously, but the doors and the lack of details, and you know, the fact that some of the stuff doesn't stay open really kind of bothers me. I think Autoart has it nailed down kind of to a science now with how to do these models, but this one isn't really good, to be honest. It seems kind of like a Maisto with some Autoart features in it. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 7. But if you guys disagree, please let me know in the comments. You know, and if you want to see anything else or want to know anything about this particular car, just feel free to write that as well. And if you don't mind subscribing and liking the video, it really helps out the channel. But yeah, and besides that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for more. Thank you. Bye.